Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode for Young Broken Investing. On YBI, we discuss opinions and strategies on how to grow your financial self. This is your host, Roman, and your co-host, Zion. And today we have a stacked roster for you, including...
Today we want to get into COVID and finance, really the state of the world and everything that's going on and its impact on your finances. We want to talk about tips and tricks that you guys can use during this time to really grow your financial selves. We want to do a new segment for you guys called Pet Facts, so get ready for that. And then we also want to do Sterling Statements today, really just wrap up everything that we went over in the program. But before we get into that, we want to take a turn and do a little bit something heavier. So Roman, go ahead and tell them a little bit about that.
All right, so we're going to start off the show with the moment of silence for all the victims of police brutality and everything that's been going on in the world lately. For George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and many other victims that have been there. We just wanted to show our respect and show our support for the community and for the movement in that way. So if everyone can, we're going to take about 10 seconds of silence, starting now. All right, thank you guys so much for doing that, and we'll go ahead and get going with our show now.
Yes, sir. Well, I just wanted to touch on that just for a second, just to let everybody know that it's so important to be socially aware of what's going on in the world right now. Roman and I, being two African-American men, it's harder for us, and that's the realization. But we are trying to change the stigma of the way that Black men are perceived in America, and this is really our platform to do that. And we just want to make sure that you guys are consciously aware that Black lives matter. Obviously, all lives matter, but we want a world where everybody is equal, and we just want to show our support for that. So let's get into the message right after these messages. We are back. We are back, man. How you been, bro? What's going on?
I've been good. I've been, just working, doing my thing.
Work is back on, man. The world is open for y'all.
Slowly but surely. It's like phase 3 here in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm not even on phase 3 yet. I'm still on phase 1 in my head. I'm like, I ain't going out until everybody good. But yeah, today we're talking about COVID, man. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about the state of the world. So actually, we're gonna have to talk about these protests and everything. So just tell me about how COVID and the protests and everything have been affecting you personally, man. Because I know that you were out there protesting. I saw that.
Yeah. So I went out protesting for a couple days during the first couple days of just protesting here in Chicago. How it really affected me, and even in COVID-19 as well, just having everything shut down. I was bartending as well, like pre-COVID, and then of course like all the bars closed, so I couldn't do that. But then I ended up just focusing more on my other hustles and my other sources of income. It's with the protests, we had the whole city shut down for a few nights and curfews in place, National Guard on every corner watching people and doing check-ins and such like that. So it's been a very crazy, just interesting time in the world where, especially as like African American brother, like your safety is almost on point, even more at all times. You just don't know what's going on. But taking that and just being like, okay, well, I'm gonna still push myself and invest more. I've been, go back to classes, start reinvesting back in my own personal businesses, starting this channel, really just doing more things to invest in myself to then grow other sources of income to meet more needs. And it's been great. I've been having a good time. Like I've been actually enjoying this time that I actually had to get back to myself instead of always focusing like on work. So it's been great. What about you, brother?
Whew, man, COVID, it was heavy because I was mid-season for all of my athletes. Like I said, since I'm a high school coach, we were mid-season and they just canceled practice one day and then we never went back. Like it was crazy. So, I mean, the money that you're expecting from that, and, I had another job. I was a personal trainer, and it was pretty much the same situation where they shut down the entire hospital, where there was no personal training. There was pretty much nothing that we could do. We couldn't get back in there. We couldn't train at all. So it took a major toll on my financial situation, because when you say that you're working 3 jobs, obviously those are more of a side hustle, but you have to understand that that's still bringing in money. And that's what I expected. Now all of a sudden that's gone. And I was like, well, something's got to give. So that really woke me up to, oh man, anything can happen at any time. And I had an emergency fund and I had other ways of making money. and making ends meet. So I was okay. But in terms of just how it impacted me, man, I haven't been home this much ever. Like I ain't been home this long since I was an infant, my dude. Like I've been rolling for a long time. So it was crazy for me to see that.
Take
So
that step back and like stay at home and like be like, oh, okay, I can reinvest more stuff at home. I can kind of chill and do these things.
that was
It's
hard though.
interesting.
Like it was really hard to just to sit at home, to have that entrepreneurial mindset, but then to be confined to the house. But that's when we started this up. So even at home, we still had the opportunity to go and be successful and do other things. So I definitely think that we made good use of the time. So how do you feel like COVID is affecting the financial world today?
It's a effect. Well, as we all know, employment rate is at an all-time high. Right now, it's even still 1.8 Americans still just filed this week again for unemployment. Our unemployment rate's
Mhm.
still incredibly high. Um, so with that going on, we have to understand that the job market's gonna be really volatile for everyone in their finance for when they want to go back, as well as where, if I don't know if we ever talked about the doom loop yet, but the doom loop as well is where sorry, the pension fund that is here in America won't be able to keep up with how much money they were actually spending. And that will cause just economic collapse if that does happen. Well, as we all know, the real estate market, people aren't paying their rent, they aren't paying their mortgages. Another thing that might look forward in the future that we might have to see. People still at this moment are still actually paying their rent and mortgage a lot better than what people thought, probably thanks to the stimulus checks and people just having
Right.
extra money from unemployment and things like that. So that is good. But I think the biggest one that I see going in the future is really going to be the job market. All those
Mhm.
jobs that were used to be open, they may not be as many of those jobs, which means young people can't go as much back to work, or people that lived off those kind of more minimal jobs can't have that work. So I'm very interested to see how like the job market changes because everyone's doing work from home now.
In addition to that, because we saw that Google and like big companies like Facebook were leaning towards leaving people at an at home work life. So they're not even like trying to bring people back. It's not that they're losing jobs; it's that they're moving and shifting people to starting to work at
Hmm.
home, which means like from a financial perspective and from a stock market perspective, you got to look at the companies that one making desks and stuff because a bunch of people are now going to need at home desks because now they have at home setup. So that's the kind of the way that I look at the big picture and I say, okay, so what happened and what is that going to lead to? But in addition to that, I'm like, man, my expectation is that a recession is coming. It's on its way because even when people get back into working, you still have several weeks of people not having money because you don't get paid week to week. You know, you got to work a couple of weeks before things happen. Um, but my expectation is that something is going to change with the market and with the economy, and I'm thinking that it's going to take a dip before everything gets better. As you said, the job market going the way that it's going, and then having other things in the world affecting not just the job market but just economics in general and the financial state of the world. Like this is not just a thing that's going on stateside. Like this is a global thing. So it's really interesting to just see how everything is going to play out for me. But I'm definitely like I'm clinging to every moment of this because we are living in history, and that
Yeah,
it's not
the
great.
history books will be talking about 2020 and what happened this year.
So, what do you think is going to happen to the financial world if there's an increased number in COVID? Because we saw the point of plateau, but then with the murder of George Floyd and with all these other things happening, now there was protests and things, and there were huge gatherings. And we just saw yesterday, or a couple of days ago, that there were an increase in the COVID numbers by like 21,000 people in the United States. So, how do you think that that's going to impact the world?
As far as the U.S. just economy, I don't think it'll have too much effect. Just looking at the stock market has not cared too much about COVID for the last couple of weeks. It's actually almost back to its almost all-time high, just being pushed by tech companies, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, the companies that literally don't even have a physical real place. All their content is already online. You have like Slack and Zoom. Weston Sonoma is doing really well. That's a furniture company because people are buying furniture at home. So it's
Yep.
balancing out right now. Where now the companies that are recession proof or pandemic proof are working and they're still making money and still profitable. We do have a bunch of closures now as well. Like a lot of businesses have declared bankruptcy. J. Crew, J. C. Penney, all those companies are starting to go away. We also have these companies that are also shining through. So it's like a balancing effect that it's having. Now, if the whole country has to shut back down from COVID, cases, we definitely would probably see a dip again, just because people that now did go back to work have to go back off of work, and the government, they're probably not going to do another stimulus in that way to try to give people more money again. If that happens, we'll see.
Really? I mean, tell me a little bit about stimulus. I know that you've been following that a little bit
So,
more than me.
we all know that was first stimulus, the CARES Act, biggest one ever in history, $2 trillion. It says 2 point, I think it was 2.3 trillion dollars. The government just wanted to print out and give to everybody $1,200 checks plus $600 a week of unemployment, plus PPP loans and everything else. So with that going forward, all that's pretty much been distributed and passed out. The government now is kind of doing like a wait and see effect. We did have a bill go up that was pretty much supposed to be another stimulus for everybody, but the House pretty much shut that down as soon as it went to them.
Mm-hmm.
And now the government's maybe talking about giving more money to people to go back to work, around 450 or an extra $600 a week to actually go back to work. So they really want
Right.
to get the economy back going. They really don't want to keep it closed anymore. They want to keep businesses closed. They want to get people trying to get back to normal life. So I really think that's where they're going to try to go, unless we see like a really big spike in like COVID cases and deaths, and they might be like, okay, we got to shut it right back down, and then we have to go back to what we're doing and give people direct payments again. So really just
Right.
depends on how these next couple of weeks go on these COVID cases.
Absolutely. I think that the big part in that is that we cannot bank on getting money from the government. I mean, it was huge that they did it the
Mm-hmm.
first time, and I definitely got my money. So but at the same time, we can't look to that again, because nobody knows if that's going to happen and when that's going to happen. So we can't bank on that money coming in. And that's one of the biggest tips that we have for you guys, is to not focus on the fact that something might happen, but to go out and make something happen. Go out and do something. Like we did. We started this YouTube channel, and we really wanted to inform people of what was going on in the world. But there are other ways and other things that we can be doing to make sure that we are going to be financially stable in and throughout COVID. So yeah, let's just get into that, right? Let's go into that. Let's tell the people, the YB investors is what I'm going to call them, the young broke investors, what we can do to make sure that we're going to be better after COVID than when we went in.
First things you want to do is you definitely want to start off with that base emergency fund.
Mhm.
Most people now in America, we have a higher savings rate than we ever had. Now about 30% of Americans are actually starting to save their money, and before it was like 8 to 12. So that's great, but a lot of people still don't even have a base emergency fund of just like $1,000. That literally you could just have for a pet emergency, a car emergency, rent, whatever. So at least starting there is always a good place, and then just securing another way of income, or doing something like investment in self, as far as reading a book or going back to classes or something that you can grow your knowledge to maybe get more skills. If you feel like, well, my job's gone and I can't do anything else, well, maybe just time to pick up a new trade, start your own company, do something. There's so many ways to generate wealth and income now that you can definitely find something.
In addition to that, man, what I did, one of the first couple of weeks after I lost my jobs, was to call all of the companies, man. I got on the phone and I made calls to all of my credit card companies, to my car, the people that do my car note. I made calls to my insurance company. I made calls to everybody that I owe money to. And I said, what are you guys doing to help with this time? And a lot of them are very receptive of the fact that people are out of work. So I actually use that to my advantage in terms of they're pushing off a lot of payments. They're deferring payments for a couple of months. In terms of credit card companies, they were deferring payments. They were doing no late penalties. They were doing no interest. The only one that I would not recommend pushing off at all was my car note. My car note said, we can take 2 payments and push it to the end of your loan, but it's still going to incur interest. And I was like,
They put it in forbearance, or were they trying to defer it?
they were trying to defer it. They were trying to take 2 payments and move it to the end of the loan. So now you have 2 months where you don't have to pay, but then they take those, they add them to the end,
And
which
you still
increases.
interest on it, yeah.
Exactly. It increases the overall amount of interest that you're going to have to pay. So I was like, I personally don't want to do that. So I made sure that I paid that one. And then the ones that I had the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to push this off as far as I can, with still paying, obviously. Since I'm still working, I'm still paying on everything. But I just wanted to make sure financially it was going to make sense for me to still have my emergency fund, not knowing how much money I was going to get back. So that was a really huge point for me, just getting on the phone and being receptive to everything that was going on in the world and making sure that everybody knew of my financial situation. That's how I stay ahead of the curve and ahead of everybody else in that regard. In
Now,
addition, go ahead.
so like have people reallocate your assets. Whatever you do have now, especially like if you have investment portfolios already, I have to reallocate mine because mine was, had different percentages in different industries that are now tanking, like travel and
Yeah,
energy. So I have to readjust those percentages to balance out you have to do those things at times like this to weigh the storms and kind of get through those pushes. And maybe if you have too much cash on hand, you want to buy some precious metal or crypto. You always want to kind of be balancing it out to where you don't have too much money in one pot, but also you can diversify and grow it that way. That's just one point I had right there. What was you saying?
absolutely. And man, we got to save money. We got to teach people how to save money, but save money by cutting back on your expenses. So personally, I haven't had like internet at my house in probably 10 years, because there's no need. I have a phone with a unlimited data plan. I have an iPad with an unlimited data plan with hotspots. So I said, what's the point of me spending an additional $70-$80 a month on internet when I have it? I mean, I have it. And that's a way that I'm saving money. So I don't have cable at my house because I have Netflix, Hulu. I mean, even if you buy all of them, you're still gonna come out cheaper than buying a TV plan, and I can take it with me. In addition, since COVID, man, I saved so much money on gas, like so much money on gas. I haven't just been driving just to drive, and my car sat for several weeks, and my insurance company, like I said, when I got on the phone with them, they gave me a like 25% refund on my car insurance because I'm not driving the car. So it makes sense if we can save money in these random places that people really aren't thinking about. That's the place to save.
Yeah, we're gonna go over it, but it's gonna show you all how to pretty much look at like your income and your expenses and balance that out. Because if you have $2,000 coming in a month, but you're spending 1,800 on just you're spending for the month, you don't have $200 left over. That yes, you can save that, but you probably can end up saving 1,000 or more, or even nine, or somewhere to that number, just cutting out some of your expenses. Maybe not going out and not buying Starbucks every day, making coffee at home. There's so many little tricks and things you can do to save money. And we're going to go over all those strategies with you all.
Oh yeah, so it's two episodes from now. We're gonna talk about budgeting and all that other good stuff. So we're gonna have very specific things to give you guys in terms of how to budget, how to save, and how to move forward with that process. But for now, we just wanted to make sure we hit COVID and really got into the meat of what's going on with that. So what other thoughts do you have about COVID, about the state of the world, about what's going on right now, just so we can keep this train moving along?
Really, what's been interesting to me is really I just want to see where the futures kind of go. I always try to think as far. I'm a dividend growth investor, so I try to be as 5 to 10 years down the line and how long this recovery is actually going to take and what companies are kind of going to be set there. So like everyone to kind of just think about their future selves and be like, okay, this is not a future me problem. It's a now you problem that's going to help your future self. Where that's saving more money, investing more now while when the market does go a little bit lower, like you can do all those things to really like push yourself up. Because with COVID going on, like this is something that if we don't have a vaccine, it's going to happen even seasonally, and we don't know how the market's really going to react to that. So we need to be able to be prepared for that.
Absolutely. I feel like the world is going to start looking like the Jetsons, where there's going to be less and less like
Tubes
big
everywhere.
box stores. Yeah, but I mean,
Everything ordered.
in real life, since people are going to be starting to work more at home, and since a lot of these stores are declaring bankruptcy, now imagine your Facebook and you have a 300 million acre lot where you're putting people in different places, but now all those people are now working at home. Now you can downsize the amount of money and because you don't have to have that much infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that's why companies like Google are doing so well, because they can do a lot of things with a lot of different people, but they outsource all of that. So now they just have their physical location where people come, but they're not working there, so they're picking up stuff and then they're out. So I feel like there's going to be that major shift where obviously we're already seeing the trend for online shopping going up and things like that. So that's my expectation, is just to get more futuristic in terms of how our world even operates.
Drones are going to start delivering everything. Twitter already has the, set that all their employees can work from home. They can go back to the office if they want to, but they can just stay at home and work from there, which, a lot of
So
people end up being happier and more productive at home sometimes.
exactly. I mean, when you talk about, hey, I have a 10 o'clock start time and you rolling out of bed at 9:55, like, ain't nothing better than that. Ain't nothing better than that. I mean, I know those people that are out in California are driving and they have hour commute, 2 hour commute, pass. I'm
It's
going all
done.
that. So that's just my expectation for where the world is going. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, man. We're gonna go ahead and get into pet facts. So let's
Pet
talk to
fact.
people, man. Pet
Pet fact.
facts. Let's go.
Pet facts are going to be a segment we're going to be doing on our Tuesday show. It's going to be we want viewers to submit pictures with their pets, and we're going to end up giving a little fact with that pet. Like if it's a dog, our profit puppy is snake. We got like saving snakes, things like that. It's going to be really cute, really adorable. Get you involved with us. Today we're actually going to do our pet fact bet for my dog because it's one of our first videos. My dog's name is Wesley. He's
Of
great.
course you pick your dog. Of
Whatever.
course. Nah, I
He's
feel you.
great. He's actually coming now because I called his name. Come here, buddy.
So Wesley is coming. All right, cool. Let's get into that right after the break.
Here he is. He's my little profit puppy. He has his cone on because he just
You gotta
got
lift him
fixed.
up. The people can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There he goes.
All right,
What's
say hi,
good,
buddy.
brother? Yes, sir. Profit puppy of the day, man. With
Profit
the
puppy.
cone of shame.
With the cone of shame.
With the cone of shame.
Mine today is actually coming from a beauty company. Probably wouldn't even know, but it's actually coming from a makeup company called Elf. If you guys never seen or heard of Elf, Elf is mainly online, but they do a lot of retail like Target and Walmart. What are only some of the only stores open right now? Target and Walmart, because they're essential. So instead of like Ulta and Lush and like all the other places that are closed right now, you actually still can buy Elf products. So they just had their earnings report about last couple of days ago, and they actually beat their earnings report, growing into like 37 cents per share. So they're going up higher and higher, and they changed their model to even go more online. So it was interesting seeing that because they're relatively cheap compared to like MAC and all those other like high-end makeup brands. And I thought like, oh, cool. Like someone's actually popping out of this COVID time that actually can excel. So if you can't have a business model that is COVID proof online, that's essential. If it can be sold in an essential store, like you're all COVID proof. Those are the companies right now that everyone kind of really likes because they'll weather the storm. Like
Exactly.
their stock ever since their earnings report came out, it's still climbing higher. They've gone up about, yeah, they actually still gone up about another like 5% just for the last few days. So Elf has been a great company I've seen, even like Zoom and Slack. But that's our profit puppy of the day is Elf. Coming
Profit
at you
puppy of the day.
with the makeup goodies.
Yeah, because clearly you know all about makeup. Clearly you was out here contouring and things.
Well, yeah, before the show we gotta do a little blush,
Man, you on your own with that. This is all natural, boy. I slapped a little cocoa butter on and I was done for the day.
Cocoa butter, baby.
You already know. All right, man. We got Sterling Statements. So Sterling Statements is just another segment where we pretty much just wrap up everything that we talked about for the episode, give you guys the main points, the meat of what we were talking about, and just 2 to 3 points. So point number 1 that I have for you guys is get on the phone and see who you can call, who you can talk to about getting all of your bills down, getting them deferred if possible. This is if you've been affected by COVID. Let's make that very clear. We don't want you guys out here, lying to creditors or anything like that. No, talk to them if you've been affected and see which ways they are able to assist you in making sure that you get everything paid, but it's still going to be okay where you're not stressing yourself out about making payments. 2, we want to not bank on a stimulus check. As Roman said, man, we don't know if stimulus is coming again. So let's not bank on the fact that, we're getting another $1,200 because as he discussed, it might not be $1,200. It might be $600. It might be $400, or it might be nothing. So if it comes, that'd be fantastic. And that gives you another opportunity to go and invest that somewhere else. But at the same time, let's not bank on that. And third, and probably the most important point that I have for you guys today, is to make sure that your voices are being heard. The world is going crazy right now, and you need to make your voice heard. If you are going to protest, do so peacefully, love one another, and make sure that we are being safe out here in these streets. Brother, anything else?
No, yeah, all the Sterling famous that we had. Just for our people, what we got coming up next is going to be talking about currency, and that we may be young, we may be broke, but we're always investing, and we're going to be here with you guys when weather like all these storms, and we're going to come at you live with some good information and content.
Excellent. Till next time, y'all.
Peace.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to Young Broken Investing. We just want to let you know that these are the opinions of the hosts. They're not meant to be the basis of any security purchases or investments. We're trying to give a little information out there for everybody, and have fun and be safe.